Hello, everybody. My name is Aletheia Sophia. I have also had another name, Anaiya Sophia, and I am here today to introduce you to Mary Magdalene's sacred journey through France. I want to begin by saying this region in the French Pyrenees, where I am very blessed to be living, is a living, breathing mystery school. The very best thing you can do if you really want to connect with Mary Magdalene as she was, her message now, and a sense of awakening purpose for our future, then you really do have to make this journey here. I have a suspicion on what I imagined may have happened here in order to verify how come her presence continues to get stronger and stronger as the years pass. I first heard a voice in my Jesus Christ corner of my heart in the year 2000. It was coming from that region, but sounded slightly different. I wouldn't have even gone so far as to say feminine at this stage, but it simply said this: are you ready? If you want to know me, come to France. That was it, word for word. Within a few weeks, I was called up. Back in the days, there were telephones. I was called up in an urgent request. Could I stand in very quickly as a yoga teacher for a retreat that was about to happen in France? And not just any old region in France, at the bottom of Rennes-les-Bains. Back in those days, it was known as the Languedoc. Thankfully, since 2016, it has returned to its original name, Occitania. And so I reluctantly came over from the UK to France, thinking, boring, neighbouring country, would much prefer Bali, Australia, New Zealand, that kind of thing. But when I saw the Pyrenees mountains in the back of the taxi taking me to the retreat center, I had what could only be classified as a girly feeling, that honeymoon, oh my God, I'm about to meet my husband type feeling when I looked at the mountains. I knew nothing about Mary Magdalene in those days, nor the Cathars, nor anything about this region. But it didn't take long. Within days, my Indiana Jones quest had begun. And back in those days, there was no internet, so there was no Googling, there was no chat GPT, there was no Google Maps, there was nothing. It was books, it was compass, and it was map. I believe Mary Magdalene struck an alliance with the nature of this region. And this alliance enabled her and her entourage of her family members and Jesus's family members to evangelize, to come to this foreign land and be given permission, sacred law, permission, to invoke many allies and helpers from the natural world to support, to assist, to magnify, to glorify the teachings that were coming through them. I want to say them. Mary Magdalene and her company would have been doing many baptisms in this region, which is already a very watery, mountainous region. And I believe the spirit of water was in on it. And together they performed high ceremony. That, I was going to say, that lies just beneath the surface of the water here today. And when we approach the waters in that same resonance, in that same humility, Mary and her entourage and the spirit of water is there. I believe she had a similar ally with the caves she has been associated with. How they have held and kept immaculate her personal journey, her initiations, her process, and no doubt the regular appearances of Jesus the Christ in his resurrection body, and maybe communion between the two. So these sites associated to Mary Magdalene have so many local tales of Jesus also being there. Some folks believe he really was here in his physical body. I'm opting more for the resurrection body. There are so many wells and springs and fountains dedicated to Mary and Yeshua, with certain inscriptions that say, "He who drinks from this spring shall know eternal love." Many, many tales of that nature. In the Rennes-les-Bains, Rennes-le-Château region, there are the remains of an enormous Celtic sanctuary, precinct, not even temple, temple upon temple upon temple. This is also a place where many ley lines meet and mingle and multiply. I cannot help but feel she stood on the periphery of this energetic place and acknowledged and knew in advance the natural law and approached it wisely and gained permission to open up again this sanctuary. When you go there in person and you believe that there are layers upon layers upon layers of living mystery, history, presence, occupation, human history, superhuman history, cosmic history, and you approach the whole region like a mystery school, putting little petitions into the land, into the water, in humility, you will be taken on a very big, obvious, undeniable journey. I've been here now 25 years, And I'm noticing the increase in folks arriving in this region, hungering, thirsting for an experience. It is lovely and beautiful and astonishing to visit the sites in the day. When you're out of season, there won't be hardly anyone else around. But I say we must go a stage further now, and we must bring our little roll mat and our sleeping bag and our head torch, because to really have an encounter, a gnosis, a direct knowing, we will have to put ourselves out there on the threshold. And when things are safe and predictable, that is not the threshold. The threshold, I suggest, is a little sleepover. A little sleepover at Chateau de Montségur, a little sleepover at the top of Bourrache, a little sleepover in the forests of Rennes-les-Bains near the Isis temple, a sleepover in the ramparts of Rennes-le-Château, vision questing, literally drawing a circle in the land and saying, right, I'm sitting here for 3 days, 3 nights. Ain't going anywhere. It's going to have to come to me. And my friends in this region, it will. She will, he will, they will. I don't want to use this time to give you teachings, because the real teaching is here, in the land, in this mystery school that is this region. What a trustable teacher. What a reliable community. What a dependent and exquisitely timed syllabus. What a lineage to step into. There are watery sites here, Fontaine des Amours, Fontestor, hot springs, caves, the cathedral cave in Bucharest, the cave opposite Rennes-le-Château, which has been closed off, but that little face, look at the face. There's a will, there's a way. Cathar initiation caves. There are dolmens and megaliths and standing stones and gorges and cave churches and churches of love, little meeting places in the forest where the Cathars would gather and preach, have a sermon underneath the dappled trees and sunlight. There are rivers, there are subterranean rivers. There are Celtic acropolis just lying, sleeping in the forest. You can just walk straight past it all. It's all just there. What's wonderful about this region is that it's very low population and very low funded, meaning there are no projects where excavations or digging have been invested in. So everything is just as it was. Free to discover, free to wander into, and if hidden and concealed, still in its original place. I don't want to just sing the praises of Occitania. I must, of course, mention Provence heavily. The cave at Saint Bon, where she spent her end days. Saint Maxime, where her body was laying in the earth, the oratory of Maximus. Saint Marie de la Mer, the perfect halfway point between Occitania and Provence. There really is a pilgrimage. You could walk it. It would take a long while. Folks do it these days, hiring a car. How much time would you need? I feel you could do a very decent pilgrimage in 10 days. But you're not allowing a deepening to happen. If you want a deepening to happen, there can be no end date. You have to just be ready to go with it. And one thing will lead to another, and one person will lead to another. And your little Indiana Jones journey will begin. Mary Magdalene's feast day, 22nd of July. Always rather a lot going on in both regions, Provence and Occitania. Head for the Rennes-le-Château region and you won't be disappointed. 16th of March, the Cathar, folks say anniversary. It commemorates the day they willingly stepped into the fire rather than renounce their supernal and exquisite faith. There's always folks on that day standing around the memorial at the bottom of Montségur, commemorating, reading out the names of the parfaits. It's a sober day, but it's often magnificent. The sun seems to appear on that day, as if suggesting, just like the prophecy, in 700 years we shall return. Maybe we ought to say now, in 700 years we did return. There's definitely a revival underway. You're going to meet people from all over the place. Glastonbury, Bali, California, Australia, Ireland, England. You're going to meet your tribe, your community. So just to recap, enter this region. Back in my old days, I used to get off the plane at Carcassonne. I'd go straight to Aletheia and I'd fill up with water. It's a lovely spring there. And even 25 odd years ago, I just knew if I'm in this region, I must be drinking its waters. There's no point in me bringing some Evian. I must fill myself up with its waters. After that part, I would then take the road into Rennes-les-Bains, just off from Cuisa. And you are met by a dark black rock. On what side is this? Right side. And a beautiful radiant white rock on the left side. Enormous, enormous. I'm talking craggy cliff face. That to me symbolized the Holy of Holies. So at Aletheia, I'm already in the zone. We call this area the zone. I'm already in the zone. I'm picking up my water supply for the entire duration I'm here. I then enter the vortex, the inner sanctum, so to speak. And every time I would go past those two rocks, those opposites, I would acknowledge them both, knowing that these two elements, light and dark, light and shadow, they're going to notice me as I drive past in the car, and they're going to go, she's back for more. Okay, let's go. And to be humbled and to accept the quest, the journey, as it comes. I would then continue on to Rennes-les-Bains, where there is a warm, I won't go so far as to say hot spring, a nice warm spring. There is a spa. I don't go to the spa, I go to the Bandu. It's a natural pool in the river. So I'm fresh off my plane from Carcassonne. I've got my water, I've passed the Guardians. I'm now parking at Rennes-les-Bains and I'm getting into the water. I'm washing off my miasma, spiritual, psychic debris, just stuff that we've all collect in modern urban life. And I'm soaking. And again, I'm introducing myself to the water, this time in the body. And lots of little prayers like, I'm back for more. Do what you must. I want to experience Mary. I want to experience Sophia. I want to experience truth. I want to experience what this region is. Lots of lovely prayer, silent and whispered when no one else is around, and maybe even whispered into the water. Just go down. Speak your prayers into the water. And after that, I'd go to Arcady, a nice little health store, pick up my supplies, and that's it. Pitch my tent, often in Le Val-Dieu, the Valley of God, right in the center of what we know called the Venus Temple, a natural pentagram made by mountaintops and large hilltops. Right in the middle, Le Val-Dieu, Rennes-le-Château, Bucarache, Bézieux, Delata, perfectly marked out by a fabulous fellow who's no longer with us, Henry Lincoln, who wrote the book Holy Blood, Holy Grail. He was quite obsessed with this that he had found, and he had measured it, and back in that time it was to the very inch. These 5 features, exactly the same length apart. I believe that's enough to get you going, my dear friends. I have done quite a few little offerings, audio guides, and a course with the shift with way more detail, not focusing just on this region, but her entire journey from her arrival to her physical departure. And all I want to say is come here, because this land is the mystery school. This land is the teacher, the guide, the initiator, the oracle, the way shower. And this is my offering to and from the heart of the rose. See you, everybody.